You know it. You've seen it everywhere. Kimchi. It's that spicy, tangy, fermented cabbage that's become a global sensation. And yeah, we all know it's a superfood, right? Packed with all sorts of good stuff. But what if I told you that behind that amazing crunch is a seriously sophisticated mechanism that can actually fine-tune our body's most complex defense system? All right, so let's get right into it. It's one thing to say a food is healthy, but it's a whole other thing to really understand what it's doing deep inside our bodies, right? How does a bite of kimchi actually translate into a smarter, more prepared immune system? That is the exact question we're going to unpack. For a long, long time, scientists have pretty much agreed that kimchi has some great health benefits, but the how, well, that's been a bit of a puzzle. The specific conversation happening between kimchi and our immune cells, it was a total mystery. We had clues, for sure. Studies pointed to benefits like antioxidants and helping with weight management, but when it came to the immune system, the details were fuzzy. It was kind of like trying to understand a whole symphony by only hearing a few notes here and there. That intricate cell-by-cell action, yeah, that was still in the dark. But that all changed thanks to a brand new, super high-powered technology that lets scientists finally listen in on that cellular conversation. And this, my friends, is where the story gets really, really cool. So what is this groundbreaking tech? Well, think about it like this. The old way of doing things was like taking a blurry photo of a giant crowd. You get a general idea, an average, but no specifics. This new method, single-cell RNA sequencing, is like getting a crystal-clear, high-def portrait of every single person in that crowd. You can see exactly what each one is doing, thinking, and saying. It is an absolute game-changer for science. Okay, so armed with this amazing new tool, researchers designed this really rigorous 12-week clinical trial. They took a group of adults who were overweight but otherwise healthy and split them into 3 groups. One group got a placebo, and the other 2 got different types of kimchi powder. Now the key here is that the study was double-blind. That's the gold standard. It means nobody, not the participants, not even the researchers, knew who was getting what until the very end. So, what did they find? Well, the first huge discovery was about how kimchi interacts with the very first responders of our immune intelligence network, the cells that basically act as our body's scouts. Let's meet these scouts. They're called antigen-presenting cells, or APCs for short. These guys are constantly patrolling our bodies. Their job is to find anything that looks like a potential threat, gobble it up, and then present little pieces of it to the rest of the immune system. They're the intelligence gatherers, the ones who sound the alarm. So first up, let's look at the placebo group. This gives us our baseline. You can see here that after 12 weeks, their immune communication network did change. But look at it, it's a mess. It's a disorganized jumble of signals going up in red and signals going down in blue. There's really no clear pattern here. But now, look at the kimchi group. Wow, it is a completely different story. It just beautifully shows the main finding. The signaling network becomes overwhelmingly stronger. Just look at all that red. The communication is loud, it's clear, and it is totally coordinated. And who's leading the charge? You guessed it, the APCs, our immune scouts. They're suddenly broadcasting on all channels. So how exactly are these scouts shouting their message? Well, they use this special piece of equipment called MHC Class II. The best way to think of it is as a little molecular display case. When a scout cell finds something suspicious, it puts a piece of it in this display case for all the other immune cells to come and inspect. So, obviously, the more display cases you have, the better you are at showing off potential threats. And here it is. This is the smoking gun, right here. This chart shows the genetic activity for those MHC Class II display cases in a key type of scout cell. Now look at the placebo group on the left. Not much is happening. But in both kimchi groups, you see this bright, powerful increase. The takeaway couldn't be clearer. Kimchi was literally upgrading the scouts, giving them more and better equipment to do their job. So let's trace how this happens at the molecular level. It's basically a 4-step chain reaction. First, the cell detects special compounds from the kimchi. This then adjusts an internal signaling pathway that acts like an immune volume dial. That, in turn, flips on the master switch gene for making more of those display cases. The end result? A much more effective, much more vigilant immune scout. Pretty elegant, huh?
Okay, so the scouts are on high alert. Their communication is amplified. What happens next? Well, all that intelligence they've gathered has to be acted upon, and that's the job of the immune system's generals. And these generals are the CD4 T-cells. They are the ultimate decision makers.
Based on the intel they get from the APC scouts, they direct the whole immune response, deciding whether to attack, to stand down, or to remember a threat for the next time.
Now, this graph shows something truly remarkable. We're looking at how these T-cell generals get trained or mature over time. Just focus on that orange curve. That represents the cells after someone's been eating kimchi. See how it's clearly shifted over to the right? That shift means the T-cells were maturing faster, becoming specialized soldiers more quickly. So kimchi isn't just alerting the scouts, it's actually speeding up the training of the generals too. But here's what makes this whole thing so incredibly smart. While the scouts and the generals were getting this fine-tuned upgrade, the other soldiers in the immune army, like the killer T cells, the B cells, the NK cells, they all just remained stable. This wasn't a case of just sounding a 5-alarm fire. It was a targeted, specific upgrade that kept the overall balance of the immune system perfectly intact.
And this incredible specificity. This brings us to the really profound conclusion of the whole study. Kimchi isn't just boosting our immune system, it's doing something much, much smarter.
You see, there's a huge difference between a stimulant and a modulator. A stimulant is like a blunt tool. It just revs up the whole system, which can sometimes lead to unnecessary inflammation. But a modulator? That's a precision instrument. It carefully fine-tunes specific parts of the system, enhancing its readiness and efficiency without causing a system-wide panic.
And that is exactly what the researchers concluded. I mean, this quote from the paper just nails it perfectly. Kimchi acts as a modulator, selectively targeting and enhancing the parts of our immune system that are in charge of surveillance and coordination. So, what's the big takeaway for you? Well, it means that eating kimchi regularly isn't just randomly boosting your immune system, it's actually enhancing its intelligence network. It upgrades your scouts, it speeds up the training of your generals, and it does all of this while keeping the rest of the army calm and collected. It's not about putting your immune system on constant high alert, it's about making it smarter and way more prepared. This incredible look inside kimchi leaves us with one last fascinating thought. You know, for centuries, cultures all over the world have relied on traditional, fermented foods for their health. If this is what's happening at a cellular level with just one of them, what other powerful, smart immune modulators are just sitting there on our dinner plates, waiting for modern science to unlock their secrets? Makes you think, doesn't it?